Hi, welcome to this episode of Violin Studio with Sharon. Today we are going to focus on putting together the bow and the left hand third finger. Now, if you have not done so, please refer to the episode that focus on how to add the third finger to our left hand. When we look at a new line of music, it's easy to be intimidated by the different moving notes. It seems like a lot to tackle at one time. So probably a much manageable way is to break it down into smaller chunks. For example, we only look at 2 measures to 4 measures at a time. Also, looking at whether there are repeated patterns that will always help. Now, in the example of number 60, line 1, we want to just focus on the first 4 notes, which is the first 2 measures. We have D, E, F, G, and O, 1, 2, 3 on the D string. So that's all we are going to focus on. First, we are going to prepare a hand shape, making sure that we have a whole step and half step with second and third finger. Let's do it one more time. Now, as we repeat, we want to focus on different things, even though we're playing the same note. Now, this time we are going to focus on dropping each finger. And now the motion needs to initiate from the bass knuckle. And then we want to make sure that fingers are dropped before moving the bow. That's right. Now, regarding the bow, the fingers are dropping and lifting, but the bow is moving in horizontal motion, especially when we're on the D string. We're moving to the right and to the left. So it's a bit challenging at the beginning. So while we're still doing it slowly, it's important that we identify these different motions and different directions of the left and right hand. Now we're going to focus on the next 4 notes, which is the next 2 measures, measure 3 and 4. We have F, G, F, E. 2, 3, 2, 1. All right, so once we are more confident in reading and executing these 4 measures, you'll find that the rest of the line are pretty much the same. So careful practice from the very beginning is extremely important. Now let's play along together. So this is line 1 of number 60 of String Builder. Excellent. Now sometimes it's best to mix in with different lines. Perhaps we will first learn the first 4 notes of the first line and start looking at the second line. That way we don't get tired focusing the same thing. The more important thing is being consistent and regular at our practice rather than having a big chunk of practice time and then waiting too long for the next practice session. So keeping practicing interesting, creative will help to actually make better progress. When you look at the second line, which is melody on D, we see two things. We see repeating notes. If we take away the repeating notes, we see D, E, F, G. Always good to translate that into what finger I'm going to play and what string I'm going to play with. So O, 1, 2, 3 on the D string. And just make a comparison. It's exactly the same note as you see on line 1. Except this time we double each note. Now let's repeat. You notice that I'm using the middle 1/3 bow. And also, this is a 7-note pattern. And I'm also very careful to make sure I drop the finger before I move the bow. So every time there is a change of finger, I slightly stop the bow to make sure I have a clean change of note before drawing the bow again. Now let's look at the next two measures, and if you compare that to the measure 3 and 4 on line 1, they're exactly the same notes. So we have F, G, F, E, but this time again they are doubling. Yes, the left hand finger's lift and drop motion initiates from the base knuckle. The bow hand move in such a way that you draw the bow to the right and tracing exactly the same direction and same line, returning to the left. It's good from time to time to omit the notes on the left hand, so we only focus on the open string. That way we isolate the bow element. We can then solidify our bow technique even more. Now here we have a pattern of 7 notes on the D string. Focus on every half note gets a full 2 counts value. Now let's play along. I'm going to play through melody on D, which is line 2 of number 60.